Been a while, y'all. I had to take a little break because your girl was tired. Life just gets exhausting sometimes. So many things to do, so little time. And after a while, you just need to take a moment to rest and super duper chill out. I miss doing my Instagram lives because they've become a part of my routine. Oh, come on. Thank you. They've become a part of my routine, so not doing them just had me feeling all off, but I didn't have the energy. In any case, I'm back. This is the perfect day to pick back up on Instagram Live because if you saw my Periscope from last week or any of the tweets that I've been talking about over this past weekend, you will know that I've been talking about how this week is really a very, very, very important shift. In the past, I've talked about how calendar time, like the Gregorian calendar, is not connected to anything tangible. It's not connected to anything astronomical. It's not even connected to any kind of cultural holiday thing. It's very arbitrary. Maybe in the past it was connected to some festival or some holiday or whatever. But at present, the Gregorian calendar is not connected to anything that we can either culturally connect to or anything that we can point to astronomically, like the sun's journey or anything like that, or the seasons. It's not even connected to the seasons. So I find that calendar time is a social construct, period. It is a social construct that only serves to give us a consensus around when and how we do things. So astrological time, though, is connected to something observable, and that is the movement of the planets in relationship to how they appear on Earth and how they move in relationship to each other in reference to how they appear on Earth. Hey, so this moment that we're in right now, today is Monday, February 4th, and two things are happening which are related to each other. Today is the first day of the new year in the sexagenary cycle calendar, and we call that the Chinese calendar, but it's not really Chinese. It's just that it's written in Chinese, just like we wouldn't call the Gregorian calendar the American calendar. Like, we wouldn't call it that because it's not the American calendar. It's just the Gregorian calendar. That's what it's called. So today is the first day in a new year, and the new year begins at the new moon, and the new year represents a change in how we interpret and measure time. The significance of the significance of each moment in time is such that what we name that time, whether it's in Western astrology or in the diasporic astrology of Asian cultures, what we name that time, the name that we give it, is important. So the name of this new year that begins on, and maybe I should put my headphones on because my wipers are loud, but the name of the year that we have begun in the Chinese calendar is the Yin Earth Pig. So one thing that you may not have known, and I have talked about this before, but it was a while ago, so most of y'all are new enough where you probably never heard me say this, but the sexagenary cycle, meaning the system of heavenly stems, which are pure elemental energies. Hold on. And the 12 zodiac albums. Yes, I know I'm getting on mine today, Nasty Nikki. My eclipse guide and my February for the sidereal astrology guide, which I talk about that in a minute. So So the system of elements and animals. So for example, this year, Yin Earth on top and the Yin Water pig on the bottom is really associated with the cycles of Jupiter and Saturn. So in Western astrology, Jupiter and Saturn come back to the same relationship to each other, whether it meaning in the same signs, not the same signs with each other necessarily, but the same signs in relationship to each other every 60 years. So if this year is 2019, and Jupiter is in Scorpio and Sagittarius, and Saturn is in Sagittarius, then the last time Jupiter and Saturn would have been in those same signs would have been in 1959. So that's 60 years ago. So in the Chinese calendar, if 2019 is the year of the Yin Earth pig, then 1959 would have been the last time that those elements matched up that way, where the Yin Earth was on top and the pig was at the bottom. So time is very cyclical in that way, and it's not that things repeat exactly within the same time frames, but similar themes arise, and they're important to note. So this year of the Yin Earth pig, I talked about this on Periscope, but I know a lot of you guys don't follow me on Twitter, and you might not catch me randomly without any prior notice going live on Twitter. So what I was talking about was that the way that the Chinese calendar works is that there are 10 elements. 10 heavenly stems. I'm sorry, there are 5 elements, but 10 heavenly stems, which means that for each element there is a yin and there is a yang. So you start with yang wood, then you go yin wood, then wood produces fire, so that's yang fire, and then yin fire. Fire produces earth, so then that's yang earth and yin earth. Earth produces metal, so that's yang metal and yin metal. And finally, metal produces water, and that's yang water and yin water. And then we start all over again. So it'll take 10 years, 10 days, or 10 months to get through all 10 of the heavenly stems, which is the yin and yang version of each element. So then there are 12 animals, right? So the 12 animals obviously take 12 months, 12 weeks, 12 days, 12 years to recycle and come back around. So because there's only 10 heavenly stems and there are 12 earthly branches, which are the zodiac sign animals, you're going to repeat the element up top before you repeat the animal. Okay. So what that means, secondly, is that each of the 12 animals is broken up into a season. Okay. So obviously there are 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Each of the 4 seasons has 3 animals. Now, in Western astrology, we talk about seasons, and we talk about Gemini season or Cancer season beginning summer. But conceptually, we don't really take it as far as they do in the Chinese calendar or way of measuring time, right? So what I mean is that each season then, so if there's 12 animals, each season takes 3 of those animals. That means that every 3 years, as we move through a different animal, so every 3 years we change seasons. So what that means is that 2016, 2017, and 2018 were metal years, which means that we were in the autumn season. So 2016 was the Yang Fire monkey, and the monkey is Yang metal. So Yang metal fire, Yang fire over Yang metal monkey. 2017 was the year of the rooster. So that was Yin Fire over the Yin metal rooster. And then 2018 was Earth. So 2018 was the Yang Earth over the Yang Earth dog. So each 3 of anything, whether that's 3 days, whether that's 3 months, or 3 years, are going to be a part of the same season, okay? So every time you get to the third animal or sign in that season, it's Earth. So 2019 is going to be the pig, which is Yin Water. 2020 is going to be the rat, which is Yang Water, and then 2021 is going to be the ox, which is Yin Earth. So the last animal in each season is always Earth, and those years are always transition years. They're always shifts and change and transition years, where generally something from that 3-year period can come to fruition or manifest in a way because of the way that the earth animals work. I'm not going to go into that because that's too deep. So 2018 then was a transition year for us, because the animal of 2018 was the dog, which is Yang Earth. So let's connect these dots here in really practical ways. In the same way in Western astrology that we can watch signs, repeat themselves, and we can watch patterns of activity coming to the same sign, which means the same house in our chart. Again, because I use whole sign houses, so don't ask me what interception means, because I don't know. It don't mean nothing in my system because it doesn't exist. But every time a planet or configuration or something is happening in the same sign, which means the same house in our chart, we know that that's connected. So the Mars transit of November 2016 has been connected to the Mars transit in 2018, which was all of that year, okay? So the same way that we can watch these elements and things or these signs resurface in Western astrology, in Chinese astrology, what we're really watching for is elements to resurface, because in Chinese astrology, based on your chart, each element is going to mean something very specific to you, and each element is going to either be beneficial, benign, or malignant to your chart, right? Each element is going to represent something like money or education or family or home or mother or father or husband, children, whatever it may be. And each of those elements is also going to have a certain relationship to you in your life. So in Chinese astrology, I can look at your chart and be like, oh man, you were really close to your grandparents and they played a major role in setting you up for life. Or education is really important to you. Or you've always struggled in relationships. Things are very, very clear because elements mean very specific things in Chinese astrology. So with that being said, 2019 is the year of the Yin Earth pig. So that means that 2018 was the Yang Earth pig. So there's a connection that 2018 and 2019 is a pair. They come together because they are in the same element up top. But in the bottom, we've gone from the dog, which is the last month in autumn, to the pig, which is the first month in winter. The element for winter is water. So again, if you were in a consultation with me and I was looking at your Bazir Chinese astrology chart, then we would say, okay, this year represents a major shift for you. And the water element that is emerging 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and I believe 2024 as well, represents this to your chart. And you can go back to what particular time in order to find a reference point for water in your chart. That's what I'm going to answer for you today. So even if you don't know your Chinese astrology chart, I can tell you the last time that water was a dominant element in the year, right? So we can start by going back 12 years from this present point. Because the animal sign repeats every 12 years, we can go back at least as far as 2007 into 2008 to find the last time that the pig was dominant, was the animal for the year, and that we entered the winter season, and that water became a prominent element in how we are interpreting our lives and measuring time. Okay, so go back 12 years from now, go back to 2007, 2008. And again, because of the way the math works, going back 12 years to find the pig again also means that we're going back to the Jupiter return, right? So that 2019, 2020 is the Jupiter return of 2007, 2008. Okay, so the last time that we collectively experienced water and that your chart would have had an interaction with water was 2007. Now, 2007, 2008, that is the pig and the rat respectively, right? are water. But then we can go back to the last time that water would have been in the heavenly stem. Okay, so the heavenly stem, remember, is the 10 elements that represent the yin and yang of each of the 5 elements. So we want to go back to when was the last time we saw yang water, and when was the last time we saw yin water. So that is going to be in 2000. Oh Lord, let me do my math here. Give me a second. So this year is 2020, 2021, 2022. Right, so that would be 2012, I believe. Yes, 2012 was the year of the Yang Water Dragon. That was a very, 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 very watery year, 2012, because the dragon holds, so dragon is a earth animal that represents the last month of summer, but it holds water in storage, which means that when certain days and months come along in that year, they are going to supercharge water. So 2012, I'm talking about, would have been a very, very, very strong water year. So you don't have to really know exactly what your chart is or what that means. All I want you to do is think about what was the focus for you that year, right? So I'll give you an example for my chart. 2012 was the year of the Yang Water Dragon. And because my Daymaster is Yang metal, water represents what we call output. And output is going to be children, creativity, my employment. Sometimes it can mean sex or pleasure. It can represent aesthetics and creativity and things like that. That was actually the year that my son was born, right? So that's not going to happen every time the output element comes up for you. It really matters what your 10-year luck pillar says. Yes, there is. I will tell you in a minute, Alyssa, how to do that. So for me, 2012 was the year that I gave birth. I began my breastfeeding journey with my child, and I became a mother, right? So that was the significant thing that happened in 2012, the last time that water was dominant. The next year would have been the Yin Water Snake, right? So that switched things up because the season changed at the bottom. So 2012, again, is going to be the last year that water was dominant. Now, there's another thing happening this year because of the pig. The pig contains water. That's its primary element or primary key or energy. But it also contains wood. Wood is very, 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 very strong in the month or year of the pig, because water not only produces wood, so that means the element needed to produce wood is present in the pig, but wood itself is present, so that the pig makes 2 different kinds of combinations with other animals in order to supercharge wood. The pig combines with the goat and the rabbit in order to create wood. So when you pull up your Chinese astrology chart, I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you see the pig or you see the goat in your hour, month, day, or year pillar, then you know that wood is going to be super strong for you this year. The other element, the other animal that the pig combines with is the tiger. So again, if you have the tiger, right? So the tiger means if you were born between like February 5th and March 5th, then you are going to be born in the month of the tiger. And again, depending on your Daymaster, the tiger can mean something different to your chart. And depending on the flow of your chart, the tiger can be beneficial, indifferent, or kind of malignant to your chart. So those 2 elements are prominent this year. Now, why is this important? This is important because the past 3 years have been completely devoid of water and wood, especially wood. We have seen 0 wood. And as a matter of fact, wood has been the weakest it can possibly be the past 3 years. Because when we were in the year of the Yang Fire monkey in 2016, the monkey is metal. And what does metal do to wood? It chops wood. Fire which is the Yang Fire up top, what does it do to wood? It consumes wood. So again, wood was weak in 2016. 2017, the only way that wood could have gotten any kind of boost in your chart in 2016 is if you had both the dragon and the rat in your chart, because the dragon, rat, and monkey supercharge water, and that would have nourished wood. Okay, so 2017 was the year of the Yin Fire rooster, and the rooster is Yang metal. Again, that fire which consumes wood, and that metal which chops, destroys, or uses wood. Okay. Then 2018 was the year of the Yang Earth dog, and the dog is also Yang Earth. So again, earth and wood are enemies. Okay, so I'm explaining this all to you, number one, because I think you all can benefit from Chinese astrology, and I think it's important that we understand these systems that are not native to our culture in a way that really honors them and doesn't cheapen them and make them consumable and make them commodified in our culture. It's very important that we honor what they actually mean. So in this explanation, you'll notice that I didn't say anything about what's your animal year, because that's just like asking you what is your Jupiter sign. Who cares, right? So all of this to say that moving from the metal, earth, and fire dominance of 2016, 17, and 18 to a wood and water dominance of 2019, 2020 and 2021 are a little different because that metal comes back. But this really shift in the elements that are prominent means major shifts. It means that what we were focusing on in 2016, 2017, and 2018, what is the fruit of those things? What is the next step? What is the next part of the story? So again, that feeling that we were kind of recycling the same stories and dealing with the same drama and trauma over and over and over again between 2016, 2017, and 2018, that's over, that's done, goodbye, right? The only linger we will have of that is the earth energy, which again is very different from the metal and the fire that dominated those last years. So if you want to see your Chinese astrology chart, I'm gonna post the link to it in my link tree on my Instagram once I get in front of my computer, and I'm going to post it as well on Twitter when I get to my computer. So what I'm going to post is a primer that I've written on Bazi. Bazi means 8 characters. It is also called the 4 pillars of destiny. Other languages or cultures might call it Pachi, just depending on how they pronounce Bazi. Okay, so I've written a primer on how to understand that system, not just the elements. I talk about the elements and the production and destruction cycle. I talk about the animals. I talk about the flow of elements in your chart. Just a disclaimer. This system is really hard to study because there is a void of resources on Chinese astrology that are in English, that are competently well written, and that are accurate. So the same way that in Western astrology, you just get a confusing amount of information that makes it hard for you to know what's accurate, it's the same way in Chinese astrology, except for in addition to just the varying ways that people practice, you also have a language barrier. So if you're asking me about books I've studied, I really struggle to suggest something that will be useful and beneficial for you, because almost all of the books that I have read struggle either because the author's native language is not English, and so the translations are rough. Some of the terms used, the way that they are translated into English, are misleading. For example, when we get to talking about what each element means, there'll be a star called 7 killings. It has nothing to do with death or killing, right? Or there might be a star for called whatever, I'm not going to go into that. But again, the translation is misleading. And so unless you can just take it at face value and not read too deep into it, which is hard because, again, finding enough information. So I just want to put that out there because whenever I get to talking about stuff, people think that knowing what I know is as simple as going buying a book and reading it. When in fact, I have been studying Chinese astrology for 9 years, and I really just finally was able to connect the dots and figure out how this system works within like the past, I would say 4 or 5 years. So if you're interested in learning this, I suggest that you start by wuxing is the 5 elemental theory that is used in Chinese astrology, traditional Chinese medicine, and feng shui. So start with learning the 5 elements, the 10 heavenly stems, the production cycle, and really understand the relationship between the elements. Also, you can begin learning about the animals, and again, from an elemental perspective. Don't learn about the animals as, well, the pig means that you love your mama. Like, no, don't go there. You're going to mess yourself up. If you want to learn Chinese astrology, start by learning about the animals and the elemental, right? The elements are everything. When you think about being in a winter season, you're thinking about water, right? Water in Chinese astrology is connected to the planet Mercury. So water is a mechanism for sending and receiving things, travel, communication, and technology. So when we come to water years, we know that technology, language, communication, anything mercurial, right, is going to be prominent. And then water itself is actually prominent. So water, again, is our ties, connections, bonds to other people. And again, the internet is a way that we connect to other people. So these things are really connected. But again, learning Chinese astrology from an elemental perspective is my suggestion. Now, again, if you are interested in casting your Ba Zi chart, your 4 pillars of destiny chart, hold tight because I just pulled up to my house. When I get on the computer, I am going to post the link to my Ba Zi primer, which has the instructions for how to cast your chart. And then I have to update something because one of the things that's different about the way that your Ba Zi chart is calculated is that you use solar time, not clock time. So I have to check and see if the actual calculator that I'm linking you to automatically converts the time that you put into solar time, or if you need to go use the calculator, which I also have linked in that article, to calculate solar time. So in order to calculate solar time, you need to know clock time. You need to know what day of the year you were born on. So like, were you born on the 100th day or 124th day? And you need to know the coordinates of where you were born. It's going to ask you for all of that information. So it's complicated, but this is why people pay professionals to do stuff, because even though the information is out there, making sense of it and actually using it is very, very challenging, and it requires a certain level of competency that you don't get just by looking at a chart or reading a book. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about Mars and Aries. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I hope you guys have a happy Monday, happy new moon in Capricorn. I wanted to talk about that too, but I really didn't get into that. So maybe another time. I talked about it in the weekly forecast on my Twitter account. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'll actually try to post some of that on Instagram as well. But yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Monday. It is a balmy 48 degrees here in Chicago, which is retarded because last week the actual temperature was negative 21. That is a 70-degree jump. And the wind chill was actually like negative 50 or negative 60. So that's really like a 100-degree jump, which if you don't believe in climate change, you should stop following me, because clearly we have a mismatch in how we use our brains. Yeah, so bye.